going to do a little arc to try to get under you. 100 feet back, making that dive. Too cool here.
That 38 is no matter what I do, he's today.
Race friends, it's time for the fastest 2 hours in motorsports. It's time for On Pit Road Racing, right here, right now, live from downtown Las Vegas on the flagship station, the WCOBM television network. Our race team will have all the latest news, updates, and interviews for the world of motorsports. So buckle up and pull those belts tight. The green flag is in the air, and it's time to go racing. And here are the hosts of On Pit Road Racing, Alan Michaels and the First Lady, Diane Fox.
Evening, everybody.
There we are.
Yeah.
There we are.
We made it through another hot day.
Yeah, a hot day.
It's not as bad today as it was the last few days. The storms helped so much. The one at 3 o'clock or 3:30 this morning, I could have done without that one. But it did cool things off.
Considering it's only been 115 degrees for the last 18 days here.
And it took down some of the, smoke from the York fire in California, which has spread into Nevada. So I think that helped a little bit. That's what they said today on the news. So welcome everybody. We're here and we're ready to let's start this show.
You ready to go? Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to On Pit Road Racing. We are live from downtown Las Vegas, everybody. That's right, at 450 Fremont Street inside of our WCOBM studios. Show airs each and every Wednesday starting at 5 p.m., and you can catch it at the WCOBM.tv network, along with the Facebook channels, YouTube, LinkedIn. We've got it. We've shared it in about 10, 15 different places, so you'll be able to get it there, okay? And just real happy to be here, man. Show partners for us in this program, man, the Gene Woods Racing Experiences. We lost Sunset this week after 12 years, Gene. The property was sold that Gene was at out there, so we lost that property there. We still got 450 Fremont Street downtown, so it's alive, well, and cooking. But, hey, man, for everybody that experienced here in Las Vegas and was out at the Sunset track, Gene says, hey, I had 12 great years there. He didn't own the land or the property. He was just leasing it. And the parties that own it decided that they got a pretty good deal, man, so they sold it. So we had to pack them up and move them on. But anyhow,
that was sad.
That was
sad.
But everybody seems to be in pretty good shape and feels pretty good about it, okay? World Wide Web Go-Karts Las Vegas. That's where you can find it, 450 Fremont Street. Also, the Woods Family Sandwiches, 2 great locations there in the Las Vegas Henderson area. Also up in Boulder, you can get more information, menu, catering, and everything else at the World Wide Web at WFSandwiches.com. Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, that's just on the other side of our complex here. This is all about motorsports and motorcycle racing. And, of course, there's the shoe right there. She is, man. We've got shoes out there. We'll talk a little bit about that in the second half of the program. And if you want more information about the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, it's World Wide Web at hotshoehof.com. That's HOF.com. And finally, the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, LVMS.com. I want to thank everybody out there, Chris Powell, Jeff Motley, everybody, and also our good friends at Atlanta Motorsports Park. And Diane, I heard from Stephanie next week on this program, live from Georgia. From, Dawsonville, Georgia, down where them Elliott boys, right? Jeremy Porter will be our special guest next week, and he is the president and the CEO of Atlanta Motorsports Park.
I'm excited to speak to him. I've not been able to speak to him yet. You have, but he seems like an awesome man. I mean, look what they all created.
I mean, this place is just unbelievable. We've been talking about them. Billy Mitchell was on the show last week, and Billy says, let me know when the planes are leaving because he's ready to jump on board with us, man.
Oh, my God. Wouldn't that be fun? Billy Mitchell.
Oh, my God. Take Gene.
That would be fun.
Take Gene and Billy and Jerry Bernardo and a bunch of us all down there, but it'd be well.
We got to get a few more females. So I'm not going to be there.
We get a couple of females to go along with you, all right?
Get a couple of females to go along.
Well, let's get the show started. Coming up a little bit later in about 15, 20 minutes, our special guest from Florida, the Sunshine State, 8-time track champion, man, championship. She's got a Brooke store is going to join us, right, Diane?
Yeah, you've had her on before.
I just sort of figured out, looking at this, you were asking when we had her on, it's been just about 7 years ago that we had Brooke on the show when she was 16 and bought her first car. Now she's 22 and she's marching on. So we're going to talk to Brooke about her racing career. How about we check the weather? Brought to you by our good friends at Wood Family Sandwiches. Diane, what's the racing weather look like this weekend?
Well, I think we got a mixed bag of little things. the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series has the weekend off. So the Xfinity and Cup Series both will visit the Irish Hills of Michigan International Speedway. Friday, a 10% chance of rain. Saturday, a 20% chance of rain. So, and Sunday, it goes up just a little bit more, but they got highs in the, like I'd say, in the 70s, low 80s.
Okay.
The NHRA has the weekend off.
Spit it out. There you go.
Can spit that one out. The IndyCar, after the week off, IndyCar returns back to action in Nashville, Tennessee. Rain is in the forecast all weekend long, 30 to 50% with daytime highs in the upper 80s, low 90s. F1 has a couple of weeks off.
Right.
Okay, so they've got a couple of weeks off. SRX, they're going to be racing in Berlin, Minnesota. Thursday looks like 10% chance of rain, high of 84, low of 63. Here in Las Vegas, well, sunny skies and hot.
Hot.
As hot.
And hot.
And hot.
And more hot.
Highs 105, but that's not as high. It might feel better. I noticed that there's a little breeze out there today, so there's a little breeze up. And that's a look at the weather, racing weather. Alan, what you got?
That's brought to you by our good friends at Woods Family Sandwiches. And 2 great locations, World Wide Web, WFSandwiches.com. Time to check a little racing news on the open wheel side. Formula One racing brought to you by our good friends at the Gene Woods Racing Experience, 450 Fremont Street. And it just keeps rolling on for Red Bull and Honda. That's right. Max Verstappen again, another win. He picks up his 10th of 12. 10 wins of 12 seasons, Diane. And the only other thing about this is that his team member, Sergio, okay, he's the only guy that else has won in the division this year. It's been Red Bull, 12 races in a row, with Max picking up 10 of those victories and his teammate picking up the other 2 out there, okay? It's just unbelievable. I just don't know if anybody can stop this. I just think this is going to be a terrorizing thing. Words all up about that Lewis Hamilton could be leaving. Ferrari wants a shot. Mercedes says they're going to put more money back into it, but we'll just have to see. Points, Diane, they're heading up, coming up for the next event in Netherlands, but the point spread looks like this.
Well, Max Verstappen, he has 314 points. Sergio Perez, 189. Fernando Alonso, 149. Lewis Hamilton is back. He's got 148. And F1 has a couple of weeks off. Up next for F1, August 25th through the 27th, the Netherlands.
Yeah, man, that's going to be a great race over there.
Yeah.
That should be a lot of fun over there. IndyCar's getting back into action, man.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be heading to Nashville this weekend. Diane, they've got Fan Fest down there. They've got all kinds of stuff going on. And then the big thing, too, NASCAR's got the big pit challenge, right?
Yeah.
They got that one. IndyCar's got one, too, because you got Scott Dixon going with Chip Ganassi Racing, Scott McLaughlin for Team Penske, Felix Rosenquist for Arrow McLaren, and Kyle Kirkwood for Andretti Motorsports.
Wow.
They're going to battle it out, man, for all that. And, of course, there's going to be some great racing action. IndyCar gets back in action, looking good. And, of course, big weekend for this weekend. Repeat winner Scott Dixon. Could he get his first big victory coming up in Nashville, Diane? That's it. How about the NHRA and the West Coast swing?
Okay, NHRA and the West Coast swing. Well, Top Fuel was Justin Ashley.
Yep.
Funny Car was my buddy J.R. Todd. Pro Stock was off this week, so there was none. But Pro Stock Motorcycles, it was Gage Herrera.
Yep.
The points we have, looks like we have Justin Ashley, he 32 over Steve Torrance.
Right.
Funny Car, Matt Hagan, 19 on top of Ron Capps.
Right.
That's not very many. So, Pro Stock, we have Dallas Glenn, 202 over Matt Hartford.
Yep.
Pro Stock,
Pro Stock Motorcycles
is Gage Herrera with 359 over Hector Rana Jr. Herrera now has clinched the 2023 playoff spot.
Well, he certainly has. He's just kicking. I don't know if anybody's going to stop this guy. Hector Rana Jr.
he's-
was on it, and the Smith, both Matt and Angie Smith too. But I don't think anybody's got any compare. Next up for the NHRA, the Menard Nationals coming up for you, presented by the Pet Armor, August 11th through August 13th. They go back to the Heartland at Heartland Motorsports Park. That's in Topeka, Kansas. All right.
Yep.
And real quickly here before we get ready, we got a couple of minutes, and our special guest is standing by. I see her in the green room right now. Brooke will be joining us here in about 7 minutes or so. But the big news out, man, last week in Tony Stewart's SRX, man, I'll tell you, Paul Tracy got out of hand, out of control. He started tearing up cars. So Tracy is out and coming back. a gentleman that we got to spend some time with in Kansas City. Johnny Benson is coming. And I'm looking forward to that.
I think what's the same? We were just talking
Paul Tracy.
Paul Tracy. He just threw a tantrum. I mean,
Well, he took out cars. He took out Haley.
He was having a temper tantrum or something. I mean, he just was not having a good mental health day.
They take issues with this, and in fact, Tony Stewart has spoke up about this, and also the chief executive officer saying that we're not going to put up with this. They're not going to come in here and tear these cars up and destroy stuff. It's not going to happen. So anyhow, Paul Tracy's out of it, man. He is done. Yep. He is suspended indefinitely time, and so Johnny Benson Jr. is going to join the crowd and looking good.
Pretty cool. God, I haven't seen Johnny Benson since we were at the
Rockin' and Racing.
Rockin' and Racing. We sat with him at the side stage watching Cheap Trick.
That's it. Last week, the event, Kyle Busch picked up the win last week in the SRX Series. Clint Boyer, followed by Tony Stewart, Brad Kay, Julio Castroneves, Bobby Labonte, Haley Deegan, Marco Andretti, Paul Tracy, and Joseph Newgarden wrapping it up. And, of course, this weekend in Berlin, tomorrow night on ESPN, and that race is sold out, Diane.
Wow.
Sold completely out.
Well, that's good for that.
Isn't that?
That's great.
How about we take a quick break, and when we come back, let's get our special guest because she's standing by from Florida. I believe Brooke Storer is standing by on the hotline. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll chat with the lovely lady that's got 8 championships, and we'll do it right after this, everybody.
Are you ready for the wildest ride on Fremont Street? The Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171 on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. Open 7 days a week, noon until midnight. Strap yourself in, pull your safety belts tight, and feel the power and the speed at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. Downtown Las Vegas, Fremont Street, 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171, right on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. What are you waiting for? Log on. Get your tickets now. It's time to go racing at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. 450 Fremont Street, downtown Las Vegas.
The bright lights, the glitz, the glamour. It all means nothing without a shot. A chance to turn dreams into reality. To change your destiny. To make history. Nothing's given. Everything earned. It's more than a race. It's a shot at a championship.
Let's go get a championship, baby!
The NASCAR playoffs return to Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the South Point 400, October 13th through 15th.
Come on! What the yeah! Oh, man! Woo! That is awesome!
I love that commercial.
Something else, isn't it?
Yeah. I love that commercial.
We're going to be heading down to Dawsonville, Georgia. It's unbelievable that you can go drifting on this place, and you're drifting in BMW cars.
Yeah.
Go-karts, IMSA Racing. Jeremy Porter, the president and the CEO, will join us next week on this program. It is the resort for motorsports people.
I'm excited.
Condominiums there, the whole 9 yards. All righty.
It'll be a fun weekend.
Our first guest is standing by. In fact, I'll bring her right up on the screen, and there she is right now. Late model driver Brooke Storer isn't afraid to make anything happen. She bought her first late model at the age of 16 with money that she earned fabricating parts and stuff for other people's race teams, Diane. Unbelievable. Now at 22 years old, her resume boasts 8 track championships. She's got over 150 wins since she started in go-kart and moved it all the way up, man. This girl is determined. She has got a heart of soul. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 2019 NASCAR Driver for Diversity super late model driver from the Sunshine State of Florida. Please welcome Brooke Storer. Good afternoon and good evening, Brooke. How you doing? Brooke?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Oh, man, we're great, man.
You look so grown up.
Yeah.
From the last time I saw you.
Yeah, I'm 25 now, so.
Oh, you're 25.
Yep, getting
She's
old.
getting old.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're still a baby.
We were actually looking at Brooke. Diane and I went back, and it was just about the time you bought your first car that you made your first appearance on this show. So welcome back, darling.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me back.
Diane, go ahead.
So Brooke, tell us, where did Brooke's racing career begin?
So it all started when I was about 7, 8 years old. My dad always raced. My grandparents raced. Uncles raced. So pretty much I was around it all the time and decided that's what I wanted to do. And my parents got me a go-kart when I was about 7 or 8. We started going full-time since then. Moved up to a pro truck when I was 11. Super late models by the time I was 14. Just haven't stopped.
Wow. So you're a generation racer.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow.
Brooke,
that's really cool.
You got started in this whole thing, and I wanted to get to the point of who got you started off. Can we talk a little bit about your father and how he brought you along?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to talk about. I mean, without him, none of these accomplishments would have been possible. I mean, he's always put me first. Both my parents have. They've both put everything aside for me to go racing. My brother's support, the whole family's support. I mean, I don't even know if I could ever tell you a race that my parents haven't ever been at, no matter where it was in the country. So without them, none of all this would be possible. And very grateful for all of the family, especially my dad, all the work he puts into the car while I'm not there. I'm in Pensacola now working, got married. And so living up here with my wife and being 6 hours away from my race car is hard at times. And I leave him with all the work. But every time we show up to the racetrack, he's got it ready to go. And I couldn't be more appreciative of him.
Wow.
Wait a second. You said you got married?
Yep, last year.
Oh, my goodness. Now, is he working on the team?
No, it's my wife. She races too. So, yeah, we actually met each other racing at the Snowball Derby. So it's pretty cool.
So does she race too?
She does.
Wow. What does she race?
She races the same things I do. So she's got the Outlaw car. She's got the Wheelman car, things like that. We both, whatever we can race, we race.
Is she having a good season?
She is. She's doing very well in the modified. She's got a race this weekend in Cordele in pretty much like the SRL Wheelman car. So we're going to go do all that this weekend and kind of go from there. And hopefully she can wrap up a modified championship at OP this season.
Well, you know what? Could you put her in touch with me? Maybe we can have her on the show in a couple weeks. That would be so cool.
We can definitely do that.
That would be so cool.
So the last time we talked to you, your home track, if I'm not mistaken, Brooke, was down in Bradenton, Florida at the old DeSoto Speedway. Are you still running down in that area at all?
Yeah, we ran there January 7th. It is now called the Freedom Factory, owned by Cletus McFarland.
Okay.
So, yep, SRL went there. I think we have another one here at maybe September. I got to look at the schedule, but I think we should go back there. It was really cool after, I think that place been shut down for about 5-6 years because I won the championship back in 2016 there. And we may have run a couple races after that, but I was the last one to ever win a championship there before Freedom Factory opened it up.
Wow, that's something else, man.
So talk a little bit about knowledge is power.
Yes, definitely. I've got to learn a lot. I got to learn a lot at a young age, which was very helpful. And I do think that it's all very helpful just going through making adjustments at the racetrack. Like I said, it's just me and my dad now doing this. And so if I can't relay what the car's doing to him pretty quickly, we're going to run out of practices. So I've always known that's a big deal, no matter what kind of race car you sit in. And so luckily I've had a lot of good people teach me at a very young age kind of how to work on these things, what to do whenever you're in different situations. So definitely been very fortunate to know what's going on with a race car, being able to rebuild a race car if I wreck one, anything like that, and not just having to pay somebody to go and do it, and I'll just show up with my helmet bag.
Now you did the driver diversity. What did you learn from that or get from that?
I learned a lot in North Carolina. I learned that racing definitely takes a lot of money. Kind of got there at the end of it. I had a great year, had a great time, learned a lot from all the people. But when it comes down to it, if you can't write the check, then you're just gone. So that's pretty much how my stay in North Carolina ended. I moved back to Florida and continued to have success down in Central Florida with the Wheelman Series, SRL Series, and local shows, and doing everything that I could to hop in any race car that I could, but just couldn't afford the whole North Carolina thing.
Brooke, who did you do the driver diversity program with? What team was that with, Brooke?
So that's with Rev Racing. My teammates were Gracie Trotter, Nick Sanchez, Ruben Garcia, Chase Cabry, and Ernie Francis Jr.
All right. I've heard of that, and you got to bring the money. I understand it. And you know what? I've always been upset about this part of the program with racing because there's a lot of great talent out there that, doesn't have the financial backings. I mean, they don't have the $1 million budgets. They don't have mom and dad that have the big pocketbooks to help along. But there's so much good talent out there that doesn't get a shot at this. And, the diversity programs, and I understand it, but it's sort of sad that the pricing of racing has gone so crazy that it's uncontrollable. It just needs to be clamped down a little bit, I think. What your feelings?
Yes, definitely. My parents, for their entire lives, even my grandparents race and everything. We go to work every day. I drive 4 hours round trip a day to and from work to try to make everything happen. And with things like that, and you're not multi-millionaires or even billionaires at this point, it's very difficult, especially even at a local level. Just for us to go this weekend, you say $5,000 to go race. And that's kind of why I'm in the predicament of racing probably once every couple months. Because me trying to do it on my own right now, I got to make sure all my other bills are paid before I go play.
So what does the future hold for Brooke?
Yeah, we're going to continue. I'm going to do everything that I can do to keep racing, make as many laps as I still can, take up any offers that are offered to me to get in a race car, and just have fun. I'm not racing anymore to go to NASCAR. And once people realize that, they realize that, okay, maybe we just can't afford it, just go and have fun. I do this, being able to do it with my dad, my family, my wife, my in-laws, everything. Just go have fun. If you're not having fun, then none of this is worth it. None of the money spent is worth it. And it took me a long time to realize that. I was always chasing a dream, going to NASCAR. And of course, I would still love to do that. But financially, it's not possible unless a big sponsor came along or someone that wanted to take me there. But for now, I just look at it as, let's go win, let's go do our job, and let's go have a great time.
You got a great attitude.
She does. She
has
has fantastic attitude. So the last time I looked at it, have you had anything looking at ARCA? Have you looked at a couple of things in trucks, or is this as a team approach you? Is this like, yeah, Brooke, we'd love to have you in the car, but bring us, $100,000 too? Is that where this is pretty much?
Absolutely. I have contracts all in my email of from super late model teams, late model stock teams to trucks, Xfinity cars. I got them all listed in my email, but there's too many zeros in that number for me to afford.
What's it costing you to go? You said, is the number right this weekend you got coming up? It's going to cost us $5,000 to go this weekend?
Easily. You think 2 sets of tires, hotels for the guys, for the crew that's helping, food, travel. It's 7 hours away, race fuel. All that stuff adds up very quickly.
Yeah, it certainly does. It gets real expensive. In fact, I've talked to a couple of people that are actually looking to get out of super late models because it's actually cheaper to try to get into ARCA or the trucks with these super late model programs.
Yeah.
I've heard that Kyle Busch has written his stuff over in North Carolina for up to $100,000 a race. Of course, now you're getting a hauler, you're getting a good team, you're getting everything to come along with it. But for $100,000 for one race, that's a lot of money.
And what they also don't tell you it kind of took me by shock whenever I'd first seen it, but you don't only have that $100,000 race. There's also, if you tear it up, there is a big fee for that and a big labor fee for them to put it back together. So you have to go in knowing, okay, if I destroy this truck, I need to have this cashier's check ready before I get in the seat in case I wreck it. And you not only have to pay to fix it, you got to pay labor hours as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You're not gonna take this thing down to the local Ford dealer and go, hey, throw it in there and see what happens. Yeah, they're gonna call the team in there if things got to be stripped down and everything else. Before I let you go, I want to get your theory of where you see stock car racing. As somebody that's been in this for a little bit, you're coming up through the ranks. How do you look at it? What do you like about it? And I've asked other guests this too, Diane. I think we'll ask her. If you were the president of NASCAR, what would you change?
That's a tough one. You can't really, it's hard to get rid of the expense part of it. And I feel like that's kind of what's keeping a lot of the really good talent down at the local levels. I mean, there's so much that goes into a NASCAR race. I mean, me getting to be able to travel all over and see it when I was with Rev and the whole ARCA team, there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, you're not going to get the money side of it out because it's just expensive to do. I mean, everything's expensive to do anymore. I don't know. I think definitely the biggest thing, if I were president of NASCAR, I would focus a lot more on the upcoming youth. I feel like the old school fans are kind of fading out, and we need the kids to get interested in it. This was a big thing that I focused on while I was in North Carolina with Rev Racing. You have to get the younger generations interested in it. That's why, I mean, if I'm at the racetrack and kids come run up to me, I always take the time out, spend time with them, kind of explain things to them if they have any questions, because that is going to be 10 years from now the future of this sport. If you don't have fans showing up or new people coming along wanting to try this out, it's going to die, and that's something that none of us want to see that. So you want to make sure that every weekend they go have a great time, whether they're in the pits, hanging out, meeting drivers, they're in the grandstands watching a race. They want to see good racing. You want to put on a show for them and make it exciting for them to come back. Because without the fans, we don't have a racetrack to go to.
Diane?
So true. I guess we had a comment from Christian, looks like Christian Carver.
You know Christian?
You know Christian Carver?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, he just sent us a message that he's glad to hear Brooke is doing well and that you're still racing a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, we're still I try to average about once a month. Down in Central Florida, they do take off normally July and August because of all the rain. I mean, you never know in Florida. It could be sunshine 1 minute, and next minute it's pouring down rain. So a lot of tracks down there do like to take a little bit of a break, and that's kind of what we're on now. But here at the end of the month, we should start firing back off pretty good.
Yeah. Are you still running anything over in New Smyrna?
Yeah, I like to go to New Smyrna every once in a while. We like to run speed weeks. I'm trying to see, we got a 10,000 win race at Citrus the day before the Governor's Cup. So if we come out of that race pretty clean, I think that we'll load up and go to New Smyrna on Sunday and run that after the Supers.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
She's something else, isn't she, Diane?
She's very. I can hear your passion, and you've just got a really good attitude about everything. You know.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I love this sport. This is what I've been doing since I was 8 years old. Trust me, it stinks to not be in the race car every Friday and Saturday night, but it's just kind of what's happened. And I am very fortunate for the sponsors I do have that make it possible to go do what we do, even on a once a month basis. DLP, Jamie Longley, my parents, the list goes on and on. But I am still very fortunate for who I have by my side and have dedicated their time and money for me to make it to the racetrack when I do get a chance to go.
Ever thought about coming out here and running the bull ring?
I would love to.
Have you ever seen it?
I have not. Just on TV.
It's a mean little 3/8. It's a mean little 3/8 mile concrete track. It's got a nice little bank up into it. And sits right on the other side of the big speedway and everything else out here. But it's a nice little track. They're actually down for the rest of the year. They started off early out here in February. Then they're taking the summer break, and then they've got two big shows coming up. Open Comp is coming, $15,000 winner take all, and then they've got the ARCA series coming in town in October when Xfinity and Cup comes back. So they'll be running at the bull ring. Before we let you go, anything, Diane, that you'd like to ask?
She has answered all of my my curiosities.
Before we let you go, I want you to take a minute, shout out to all of your sponsors, team members, social media, Brooke, where they can find you at, okay?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Brooke Store Motorsports, Instagram, Twitter, the whole 9 yards. I try to update as much as possible, let you guys know when we're racing again. Like I said, sponsors, DLP Commercial Maintenance, Jamie Longley, my mom and dad, my wife, Cody. I mean, without them, we wouldn't be able to get to the racetrack every week like we can. And just look forward to working with them for the rest of the season.
You think there'd be any chance that we could get your dad to sit in for a show?
Absolutely. I'm sure he would join in.
Oh, I'd love to have it. I'd love it. This would be cool. Really good to have the father of the daughter now. Yeah, this would be really cool.
Well, have your dad and then have your wife, Cody, get in touch with me because
okay.
I'd love to have the female drivers on. I mean, it just.
I'm sure she would love to.
that would be very that'd be very interesting to talk to, since we've already talked to you and now talk to her.
Yeah,
that would
definitely.
be cool.
Race
We'll
friends.
get it lined up.
Thank you
got
so
it.
much.
Oh, we're looking at and your partner. She drives a modified, right? Yeah, I like that,
And I
man.
do too,
That's
yeah.
horsepower right there. Ladies and gentlemen, race friends, 8 championships, 150 plus wins in counting from the Sunshine State of Florida. Our special guest, Brooke Storr. Thank you so much, Brooke.
Thank
Good
you,
luck to
guys.
you good luck to you in the rest of the season. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brooke.
There you go. There she goes. And then we're back in time. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we got racing news and updates and all kinds of things. We got to talk NASCAR a little bit. We'll do it all right after we do this. Everybody on Pit Road Racing live from downtown Las Vegas.
Welcome to my world. Handicapped man down at a charity feed. Great spread this morning. God, it was horrible. But it made what I needed to happen. Then I had these people that stopped and said, "Hey, you want some shoes?" I said, "Yeah, I was going to need to get some anyway. So might as well." And if it really comes to fruition, help them buy more shoes so that we can help more people. Well, I'm not but you know what I mean. Hell, might as well. There's nothing wrong with helping someone. You know, it makes for good karma or good energy, whatever it takes. Hell, I ought to do a product placement for Coca-Cola too.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Like when he says Kia like that. Alan Michaels, Diane Fox, special thanks to our special guest, super late model driver Brooke Storr, coming out of. I'm glad to see you. Never been. I remember when I lived down in on the west coast of Florida, the Bradenton Motorsports Park over there was a really cool track over there. DeSoto Speedway is actually what it was called. And then right next door to it, sort of like how it is out here, Diane, you had the racetrack here. Then on the other side, you had the drag strip too. So it was a really cool thing. I'm glad to see them get that open back up again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So next week on the program, you saw the spot. President and CEO Jeremy Porter will join us live here on the program next week, talking about the Motorsports Condominium Racetrack Complex, man. And we'll do that all next week. So we get some updates from NASCAR, Diane?
Sure.
Okay, so let's do it. It was Carson Hocevar. It started it off, man. He had a bad problem with the pits and everything else, but the 20-year-old driver from Nice Motorsports, man, I'm telling you, he was looking hot. But it wasn't too hot because Corey Helm officially became the NASCAR Truck Series regular season champion. And, man, he picked up the championship while Carson Hocevar won the race, right, Diane? But Corey picked up the championship. How about the top 10 in the Truck Series?
Yeah, the top 10 is Carson Hocevar, Ty Majeski, Jake Garcia, Matt Mills, Corey Heim, Matt Crafton, Nicholas Sanchez, Grant Enfinger, and William, cannot pronounce his
Which is
name.
was there William Sawatch. William Sawatch. That's who that is there.
And points,
well, they're sort of lined up like this, Diane, because now they're already set and they're getting ready to run for the championship. So there you go, man. They're lining them up. There you go. Starting off with Corey Helm.
Corey Heim, Zane Smith, Carson Hocevar, Christian Eckes, Grant Enfinger, Ty Majeski, Ben Rhodes, Nicholas Sanchez, Matt Matt DiBenedetto, Matt Crafton.
And that's it. That's your top. That's it. That's going to be your top 10 running for the
championship.
And a really cool thing, Matt Crafton got in on points this year, and he's defending series champion right there. So he gets in, so he'll be running for the championship. So it's going to look like this when they restarted. Corey Hellman, his number 11 machine, Toyota racing machine, get 2 regular wins through the season, and the season championship he'll start with 2,030 points, and then they'll just start backing everybody back down by 5 until they get it ready to go. So they get ready to go, and the trucks will be back. In action coming up. Round number 10, Lucas Oil, Indianapolis Raceway Park, Friday, August 11th, 9 p.m. Green flag start right there for you, Diane. All righty. Yeah, Xfinity Racing.
Well, Sam Mayer took a dramatic double overtime victory in Saturday's Road America 180 at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, which was a road course. A 20-year-old from Franklin, Wisconsin, claimed his first career NASCAR Xfinity Series victory, climbed onto his driver's side window, and pulled apart his fire suit like Superman to a happy and familiar crowd. We watched that.
Yeah, good race, man.
That was a very good race.
Sam picks up the win. Parker Klingerman in second. Austin Hill wraps up in third. Sage Karam in fourth. Riley Herbst, Las Vegas native. Way to go. Raleigh is just chomping at the bit to get a win. I'm telling you.
Yes.
And I spoke to Jeff Motley a couple of weeks ago, and he said when they were in Nashville the last time when Cup and Xfinity were there, if the Cup boys wouldn't have been in the Xfinity race, that was all Riley Herbst to win right there. Yes. So he is just chomping at the bit to get a victory in there. Riley Herbst then followed by Josh Berry, Kaz Garla, Josh Palicki, AJ Allmendinger, and Brandon Jones wrap up your top 10. Diane, you got the point standings in the playoffs.
Yeah, the playoff standings with only 6 races to go until the actual playoff is Austin Hill, John Hunter Nemechek, Cole Custer, Justin Allgaier, Chandler Smith, Sam Mayer, Josh Berry, Sammy Smith, Jeb Burton, Daniel Hemrick,
and Riley Herbst.
And
Riley Herbst. That's right. Your cutoff line is Parker. Yeah, there you go. Cutoff line is Parker Klingerman, 22 back. Brendan Jones is 61 back, and Brett Moffitt, 82 back. Okay, so that's what you got. Look at that. Xfinity News, too. Did you see this? NASCAR has signed a deal with the CW networks to cover Xfinity racing, Diane.
Okay, and that's great. I get thumbs up all the way. But come on. The NASCAR Cup Series needs to follow in their path. Something. Because these racing on this USA and TNT or what now.
Well, here it is.
I just won't say anything.
The CW network will become the exclusive home to NASCAR Xfinity Racing in 2025, extending through the 2031 racing season. The CW will broadcast 33 live NASCAR Xfinity races annually, along with practice and qualifying events for each weekend. Starting with the 2025 season, it'll be the first time in history ever that the NASCAR Xfinity Series has been available on free over-the-air broadcast television. There you go. There you go, right there. Quit pitching this thing out to USA and all these other channels.
I know.
Just stop. Stop.
Doing it.
You guys got a contract coming up real soon. You need to start thinking about what you just did right here.
Yeah.
Because that's
a great move.
Last weekend on NHRA was full blown on Fox, and I guarantee you they rolled. They rolled in the ratings.
Mm-hmm.
Open up, folks. Let's get it together. Next race for the Xfinity Series is going to be Saturday. NBC, Peacock, and MRN and Sirius will have it there in the Irish Hills of Michigan.
And also when it does say NBC and it says Peacock, we had to do some looking and some research and stuff because they're not always on Peacock.
No.
Peacock is only showing certain ones.
Right.
So if you think, oh, okay, it's on USA, but they're showing it on Peacock. Nuh-uh.
We looked in on some streaming service that said they advertised USA on it, and after we bought it for a month, it wasn't even. They forgot to tell us that they took USA off 2 weeks prior. So
yeah, don't count on Peacock right now because Peacock is only showing certain races.
Yep. And they're doing that. They're doing the post race stuff too.
Yeah, well,
but I don't care about that. I want to see the race. Yeah.
So, but like I said, no, don't go. Okay, I can watch it on Peacock because if it's not scheduled, if it's not one of those scheduled races on Peacock, you're not going to see it. So.
Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing got back Jack, the man in the hat, the cat in the hat, Jack. Jack Roush is happy UI because Chris Buescher picked up the first victory for that team. picking it up the NASCAR Series Cookout 400 at Richmond. Man, I'm going to tell you, this was a good race. Busher hung in there. I got the finals on the replays of this thing, and I watched it, and Busher really, really went at it. Diane, you got the top 10 right there.
Oh, yeah, top 10. Starting off with Chris Bush, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Ryan Preece, Brad Keselowski, Martin Truex Jr., Eric Almirola, Austin Dillon, and Kevin Harvick.
Looking at it right now, point standings, if they were to roll for the championship right now, everybody, it's Truex up on top. Man, he's got that win. William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Chastain, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick are all in with wins right now. Standing back, you got Kevin Harvick. You've got Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Brad K's 155 back, Bubba Wallace back 54 or plus, excuse me.
Plus 54.
Yeah, he's up 155. Bubba's up 54, and Michael McDowell sitting on the line at plus 18. But if you look back at the cut line right there, Diane, creeping up on him, 54. Ty Gibbs from Joe Gibbs Racing right there, 18 back. Dinger's back 22. Suarez is back 34. And the next event coming up Sunday, Michigan International. And once again, you can see the race on USA, MRN, and Sirius XM, Diane. No Peacock. No
They
Peacock.
tell you, they'll tell you, they show all the NASCAR races, but they don't.
They don't do that. One quick break. We'll come back. We got some racing news and notes to take care of. We'll do it all right after this on Pit Road Racing live at the WCOBM, everybody.
Jerry B here up in Sacramento, Union Gospel Mission, giving out some shoes to the homeless. Here, a lot of smiling faces. We got one deal. We give you a pair of shoes. You got to give us a smirk and a photo. And this is the mission of the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, which is a non-profit organization based out of Las Vegas, started by Gene Woods. We're trying to do good things and fill little holes in people's lives the best we can. And today we're up in Sacramento, just doing the best we can. Thanks for supporting us.
Are you ready for the wildest ride on Fremont Street? The Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171 on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. Open 7 days a week, noon until midnight. Strap yourself in, pull your safety belts tight, and feel the power and the speed at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, downtown Las Vegas, Fremont Street, 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171, right on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. What are you waiting for? Log on, get your tickets now. It's time to go racing at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, 450 Fremont Street, downtown Las Vegas.
The bright lights, the glitz, the glamour. It all means nothing without a shot. A chance to turn dreams into reality. To change your destiny. To make history. Nothing's given. Everything earned. It's more than a race. It's a shot at a championship.
Let's go get a championship, baby!
The NASCAR playoffs return to Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the South Point 400, October 13th through 15th.
We're watching them load up some more go-karts. On Pit Road Racing Live, we're down to the second half of the program for you this Wednesday, show number 24 here. Diane Fox on my left-hand side, Alan Michaels right here. We do it from the WCOBM each and every Wednesday afternoon, starting at 5 p.m. for you out there. And you want to talk a little news of what's going on here for a minute or two? And we'll get a clip from Johnny, and he's got a little conditioning thing that he sent over to us, so we'll play that. How about that?
Yeah, we'll end today with Johnny.
You end today with Johnny?
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
end today with Johnny.
Well, let's get to it. Andretti Motorsports is considering a NASCAR involvement. Here's the update. It's the first time ever since the deal was announced in early July. Andretti explained exclusively to Indy Star how the Cambridge multi-year primary deal with Spire Motorsports in the NASCAR Cup could help fulfill this. Now, Diane, his son Marco was in a truck race coming up, okay? But this is where it's going to get really near now because Spire's already in it. They've got a charter. Now, Andretti wants to get into this. And with charters going for just about 30 million a pop, okay? So now I think what they're going to do is they're going to try to team this together. But Andretti Motorsports, who is already locked into IndyCar, IMSA, Formula E, Supercars, Extreme E, and Indy NXT. This is a big thing for the Andrettis to get into NASCAR, Diane.
Oh, yeah, sure is.
Updated for you, Michael McDowell, Todd Gilliland, and for Furniture Row Front Row Racing. two incumbent drivers, man, what's going to happen? Well, right now, it looks like that McDowell could be heading either to one of two places. Either he could be heading over possibly to Kellogg Racing, or the other adventure might be if Eric Almirola decides to retire. Michael could hit that ride right there with Stewart-Haas Racing. Your thoughts on that?
I would like to see Michael McDowell go to Stewart.
To Stewart-Haas? Well, right now the press release comes out for the 24 events. He's got about 30 to 60 days up to depend on what he wants to do. He had an interview with NASCAR Sirius XM Radio, and he said that they're trying to make his move. He doesn't know. Things could come a little bit better that he wants to stay, but it's just up in the air with Almirola. But Stewart-Haas has got to be making a decision, and they got to be making a decision pretty quick. Yeah. All right. You remember Shane Van Gisbergen? You remember the guy that won the Chicago Street race?
Gisbergen.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Shane SVG, as I like to call him, man. Well, apparently his contracts, the team owners and everybody down in the Netherlands and the Australia, the teams that he runs the supercars with down there, say they're ready to let him out of the contract. So negotiations could be coming to him coming up in the 2024 season.
Oh, so he might. Oh, so he could be.
He could be on his way to NASCAR, and there's three.
He was fun to watch a race.
Three possibilities that could end up. Could Justin Marks and as I believe Justin Marks and Pitbull that got that track horse racing could, because they fielded that number 91 car, which does not have a charter on it. Okay, but at this point, with only 36 to 37 drivers entering the race, if he's got the car to put on the track, he's going to make the show.
Right.
This is going to be something very interesting to see, folks. I really, really think that. Speaking of retirement, what do you think about Martin Truex Jr.?
Well, we have an update. So Martin Truex Jr. has become accustomed to anticipating the speculation about his future in the NASCAR Cup Series. Saturday, the 43-year-old veteran gave a preemptive answer before the question could even be asked. He's also found victory lane 3 times this year, and after the most recent trip at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, he noted that he was bad at making big decisions, both about his racing career as the driver of Joe Gibbs Racing number 19 Toyota, and a big-ticket purchase of a saltwater boat.
There you go. Jimmy Johnson and Chad Canales been all paired up. That's right, and they are on their way, and they have won their shot to get into the NASCAR Hall of Fame out there. Jimmy Johnson and Chad Canales, along with Donnie Allison from the Alabama gang out there. First-time Hall of Famer in Voters' Choice. Johnson got 93% of the ballots. Chad Canales got 81%, and Allison drew 53% of the 57 ballots casted by voting members after Wendy's meeting at the Charlotte Convention Center. Also in on that dig right there, did you have Janet Guthrie? She got the Landmark Award, and also in on there, Harry Gant, handsome Harry Gant, man.
Harry Gant.
Followed by Ricky Rudd, Kyle Edwards, and Banjo Matthews. All got the Pioneer out there. So congratulations to them. Did you see this thing here coming up? Kyle Busch and his son Braxton.
That is so cool. Yeah,
they're
going to be racing at the same track. That is so cool.
Kyle and Braxton Busch have always had busy schedules, but not often in the same circle, the same track on the same night. Well, the champion NASCAR driver and his son are going to be doing it together at Thunder Hill Speedway. Braxton won the event last year, and you'll see if he can repeat. In fact, that event is tonight. We'll have all the resources.
Well, that's how father and son do very well.
I just think this is, and of course, you know, he has already made announcements of what Kyle says he would like to do. He wants to run a few more years in the Cup division, then retire, then jump into the trucks, because he's won Xfinity Championship, he's won a Cup Championship, but he's never won a truck championship. So if Kyle can pull this off, run 2 years, his son Braxton at that time will be 16. He can run some short track races, but he can't run the big super speedways until he turns 18. So they could share duties on this. This could be something really interesting.
Oh, yeah. That would be very cool.
All righty. So let's take a quick little break here. We got some little exercise stuff from conditioning from our good friend Johnny Spilotro. We'll be right back, everybody.
Really, really challenging to do natural movements that you normally would on your daily drive street car, and natural movements that any other athlete would in any other stick and ball sport. Starting from on the neck down, the Hans device and the helmet limits neck movement and generates a lot of G forces around it. I would say probably anywhere between like 5 to 9 G-forces on average, which is right up there with fighter pilots. They usually average a little bit more than that, but the characteristics of it are very, very similar in terms of limited neck mobility. What the Hans device is designed to do, of course, is to limit your neck throwing forward in the middle of an accident. That said, it's still taking a lot out of force as you're going through the turns, because as the shoulder harnesses are basically designed to hold you down. Way in the middle of an accident, you're not going to be thrown out of the window. That said, shoulder mobility is also very limited. Now, normally you need the two hands to turn, and there's a little bit of shoulder abduction to kind of steer the car itself. So, keeping that in mind, most of your muscles radiating from your shoulder all the way on down onto your wrists, they're going to be firing at a rate that's typically unknown, but twice as much that you would normally feel with your daily drive car. This is an area of research that hasn't been examined as of yet. Personally, this is a type of area that will answer a lot of questions as to how challenging the driving characteristics of race cars can be, because force can change when the characteristics of driving the car can change. So whenever handling and tire wear kind of falls into play, and it becomes a little bit more challenging to drive, your concentration levels have to be increased and have to be in tune. Unnatural human temperatures to any other ambient outdoor setting. The reason why that is drivers typically have to wear fire retardant suits, a crash protected helmet, the Hans like I mentioned before, as well as fire retardant and shoes and gloves. Again, all safety mechanisms that unfortunately poses a hindrance to human body acclimatization in terms of driving. So, with that said, thermoregulation and electrolyte imbalances, particularly sodium and potassium, are going to come into play. So frequent hydration and rehydration is going to be a huge component when it comes to assessing the needs of the driver, weeks, possibly 2 weeks out of the event. Again, like I'm going to say right now, I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian, but the one things that we do know is that the sodium potassium ions in your body are two catalysts that are responsible to making action potentials, which is another term for a starting muscle contraction, typically happen. Without these ions, nothing works. So the reason why fatigue is often onset, more prevalent in amateur level drivers or short track racing level drivers such as ourselves compared to the professional level, we typically go through that sodium potassium exchange a lot faster than drivers at the elite athlete level. And there's many other reasons with that. I will definitely dive into that into a later segment. But for now, the good thing to keep in mind is hydration intake and how crucial that is in training in the heat. So that kind of sums up the needs analysis of the sport itself and what the driver has to go through. The needs analysis of the driver themselves, it's a little bit more complex, depending on which level that you're in training in the heat. So that kind of sums up the needs analysis of the sport itself and what the driver has to go through. The needs analysis of the driver themselves, it's a little bit more complex, depending on which level that you're in, ranging from go-karts, bandoleros, legend cars, all the way up to bombers, super stocks, and super late models. Drivers typically range in all different in shapes and sizes. They have typically different needs, and their bodies typically adapt to the same amount of stimuli, completely different to what I am normally accustomed to. So with that said, it's kind of a case by case basis, because you're going to have a lot of drivers that will range from low muscle mass, really lean, to overweight and obese. And there's a lot of different homeostatic responsibilities that come with those two types of body types, and all drivers typically fall within that range. The unique thing about this sport is that male and female drivers can compete together and pose the same amount of results together on the racetrack, because we all fall under the same rule book, right? So with that said, there's a lot of things to consider when it comes to the needs and analysis of the driver. Both male or female, you have to think about weight. You have to think about what diet they're going to put themselves into. Some of them have a lot of jobs outside of racing to kind of go into. So you have to make a consideration for that as well. Hormones, sleep, anxiety levels, all of that kind of encompasses everything. So it's a good mix of a general population client to compete in an elite level athlete sport, which makes it very, very exciting. In terms of metabolic responses, this has been done through driver surveys, research practice.
Welcome to my world. Handicapped man down at a charity feed. Great spread this morning. God, it was horrible. But it made what I needed to happen. Then I had these people that stopped and said, "Hey, you want some shoes?" I said, "Yeah, I was going to need to get some anyway. So might as well." And if it really comes to fruition, help them buy more shoes so that we can help more people. I'm not but you know what I mean. Hell, might as well. There's nothing wrong with helping someone. You know, it makes for good karma or good energy, whatever it takes. Hell, I ought to do a product placement for Coca-Cola too.
Are you ready for the wildest ride on Fremont Street? The Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171 on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. Open 7 days a week, noon until midnight. Strap yourself in, pull your safety belts tight, and feel the power and the speed at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, downtown Las Vegas. Fremont Street, 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171, right on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. What are you waiting for? Log on, get your tickets now. It's time to go racing at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, 450 Fremont Street, downtown Las Vegas.
Although we're going to go a couple minutes left, Diane. I just really, I like Brooke. She's a real good kid. I'd like to see that. I'd love to see that lovely lady. You know, we're talking about the money and everything. I'd like to see her be able to get a shot at the big time right there. You know?
And when I don't know about you, but when I'm sitting here and we're talking to these young racers, and they have so much passion, and they have such a good attitude. God, you know, I just wish I had money that I could just. Where would you like me to send it to?
Yeah, where would you like to send it to?
I mean, seriously, there have been at least 3 of them on this, you know, so far, and you just want I just want to just write a check, you know, but
you can only do so much.
Yeah, exactly. So
speaking of it, I am actually holding the heart shoe here for you, and you see this coming across the bottom of your screen right there. This is from the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. The Hot Shoe Hall of Fame is a foundation and a motorsports theme and a Hall of Fame, primarily with motorcycles, but with all kinds of motorcycles and motorsports, car drivers. There's been a crossovers of it. But we're showing these shoes, and you'll see the website that's listed below. If you'd like to make a donation to help us out, 100% of all the money's collected go to get these shoes. We've been going to local churches, ministries, youth organizations. Gene and the group were up in Sacramento a couple of months ago for the Sacramento Mile. We've been down to Costa Mesa and been just not only helping out here in Las Vegas, but around the country too. HotShoeHof.com. Check it out and get yourself a pair of these cool sneakers. Yeah, they are. They surely is. Next week, President CEO, he's going to be with us. Shall we do a little thing with and call on John the announcer?
Yeah, let's call him on.
Let's do it. Having a good day out there for you, everybody. Hope you have a good day too out there, and we hope to see you back next week.
Thanks for joining us for On Pit Road Racing. Follow us on our website, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at On Pit Road Racing. On Pit Road Racing is written and produced by WCOBN TV. I'm John the Announcer for On Pit Road Racing.